Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Cherry, new movie on Apple TV Plus, an exclusive film directed by the Russo brothers, the guys that brought us so many great Marvel movies. And I think I want to say they did the Lego movie too. I could be wrong. Starring Tom Holland from, of course, the Spider-Man franchise, and Ciara Bravo from Wayne, a great TV show, which you can find on Amazon Prime. Highly recommend it. She's great in that show. She's also great in this movie, along with Tom Holland. Great performances in this movie. But it is a brutal, depressing ride, this movie. But it is a ride, so it's tough. It's a tough movie. Spoilers, obviously, if you're thinking about watching it. Just know that I liked it. There's good performances, very stylized direction by the Russo brothers, a lot of stylized shots, which made it very interesting. There's a lot of things to enjoy about this movie, despite it being a very downer, depressing type of a film. So yeah, check it out if you have Apple TV Plus, but I'm going to get into spoilers because this movie is a few things. It's a bank robbery movie, it's a heroin movie, it's a war movie, it's a love story. Basically, Tom Holland's character falls in love with Ciara Bravo's character. Early love, just out of high school, still kind of figuring out what you want to do. He just had he was just in a relationship with a girl that didn't give a shit about him. And Ciara Bravo's character is just everything that he's ever wanted. And amazing, beautiful scenes. There's scenes of him on ecstasy going up to talk to her, and just it really kind of brought out and showed like kind of that early stage romance with the butterflies and the kind of just I don't know. It's great. It's a great intro to this character, Tom Holland's character, which is Cherry. His name is Cherry. But then everything goes wrong, right? She feels a little bit suffocated or whatever, and she like plans. She's like, I'm gonna go to Canada all of a sudden. I'm gonna go to school in Canada, and to basically, because she's afraid of commitment with Tom Holland, or Cherry's character, and so he decides to go to the army, which it's already been shown in this movie. His friends. One of his friends does not like the military. His brother came back all fucked up with PTSD, and he's trying to convince another one of his friends not to sign up. But Tom Holland, thinking that his girlfriend, his love of his life, which is crazy that you have those feelings when you're young, when you have like a girlfriend and you're like, oh, this is it. Like, there's no other girls. There's no other fish in the sea. There's only this one. He decides to sign up for war, and of course, war is hell. He signs up as a medic, so of course he's going to see some horrific shit, and you see some horrific shit. Some horrible stuff happens to him when he's over there in Afghanistan, I believe. One of his buddies, there's a bomb, like a bomb attack, not a bomb, or like a landmine or whatever. Just a gruesome, brutal scene where it's like they're already showing parts of, the kind of cool visually. This movie is insane. Like, up until like the bank robberies start happening, it seems like the kind of visual stylized look of it kind of goes away. But up until that point, I mean, it's beautiful from top to bottom, everything, even the last scene. But there's, during the boot camp of him going to boot camp, reminded me a lot of Full Metal Jacket, the first part of Full Metal Jacket, the only real good part of Full Metal Jacket, which was kind of fun. But it's also kind of him understanding how ridiculous everything is, like how all of his drill sergeants are fake. They all pretend like they saw action, but they never did. Like the truth about it's a really interesting scene. Definitely this movie takes shots at the military, takes shots at how our country just does not care about people in this specific way. I mean, there's a lot of ways this country doesn't really care about poor people or people in general. But the military is one of the great examples of, they'll sign you up and send your kids out to fight wars for, why we're even in those wars to begin with is questionable or unexplained, a blurry nonsense. But then once they get fucked up mentally from dealing with that, they ship them back and they give them no support whatsoever, except for maybe some prescriptions to drugs, and that's what happens to Tom Holland's character. Because of war, because of the post traumatic stress of being in war and seeing what he saw, and you see it too as an audience member. Like, that's why this movie is brutal, but it takes you on the ride because he's like just this sweet kid, even though he was taking drugs or whatever. He's a sweet kid. I mean, Tom Holland, he's got a sweet face. This dude's got the baby face, so it's tough to see Tom Holland sink into what becomes a pill addiction, then later heroin, obviously, because that's where it always leads. He's taking stuff for his anxiety, and then they put him on Oxycontins, and then next thing you know, he's a heroin addict. Not only that, next thing you know, his wife is so tired of dealing with his shit because he's high all the time that she decides to start getting high. So now you have a junkie couple, which is just even more depressing because she's adorable as well. I love their love together. I don't want to see them going down this road, which, if you've seen heroin movies, it generally doesn't end very well. And things don't go very well until he starts, money wise, they start figuring out how to rob banks, which there's a lot of aspects of this movie that are kind of interesting. He's got the pre-war stuff, he's got the actual war stuff, he's got the drug stuff going on, he's also got bank robberies going on. This movie's got everything. But yeah, so he transitions into robbing banks, and kind of like, despite how easy it is to get the money, when you're a junkie, and also just when you get money that you didn't work for, it tends to go pretty quick. It's really easy to spend money that is just handed to you. Um, but yeah, it's it's a movie that's really depressing. The end is beautiful. I mean, there's the end, like his last hurrah, his last bank robbery, is great. And then he decides to just shoot up in the middle of the street, while the cops are coming. I mean, it's not really the end of the movie. There's an epilogue to the film. I mean, there's a lot of this whole movie has a prologue, different chapters, like 5 chapters, 6 chapters, and then an epilogue. It's kind of a long 2.5 hour long movie, but it's a ride. I mean, it's a lot of things happen to this guy in this movie, and how it ends, it's like a very beautiful, I mean, tragically beautiful scene. But then the epilogue is just this montage of him, because he ends his career as a bank robber. He's just like he hit the bottom, right? He had his get out of jail free card, as far as not real jail, but as far as dealing with the criminal element of drug dealers who he owes money to. He pays off those debts, and then, puts himself in jail, basically. So the montage is him kind of in jail, getting clean. He's in jail for like 15 years or something like that, and then he finally gets out. He's got the mustache to make him look older, which was a nice touch. And then it ends with, which I enjoyed. Like this, the end was nice because it's almost like a cleansing, because the movie's so brutal to you as a viewer watching. I mean, seeing just kind of this car accident happen in slow motion. That by the very end, it was nice to not only see that he got clean, but also you see his wife, and it appears that she is clean as well. Which the whole time I'm like, oh, he's gonna get out and he's gonna like see his wife on the street or whatever. But yeah, just a crazy movie. I mean, just showing the horrors of war, how horribly the government treats, people who fight for this country, how horribly they treat them and just turn them into drug addicts. Basically, shows how the big drug problem in this country are pharmaceutical drugs. How the real gateway drug are the dudes and women in lab coats who prescribe prescription like crazy drugs to people. Um, but then also the bank robbery. It's amazing how just kind of smooth and easily he's able to rob these banks. But a really funny part of this film as well, which I don't know, I just started noticing this in movies, and all of the bank names are hilarious. They're all like, "We're here to fuck you over" type of a thing. Like it shows how horrible the banks are as well. And then all of the names, like if there's a characters like doctors and stuff that have nameplates, they have funny names as well, like Dr. John whomever is like one of the names or something like that. Um, but yeah, it's a great movie. It's a tough movie. It's one that I'm glad I watched, but it's not one that I'm going to go back and revisit. It wasn't a fun ride. But it was great to see Tom Holland and also Ciara Bravo in a heroin film, because it's tough to see. It's brutal. It's brutal, but it's well made movie. Russo brothers, very interesting, very stylized look at a crazy bummer of a ride of a movie. But if you have Apple TV Plus, I recommend checking it out. It's worth a shot. It's called Cherry. Make sure you support our sponsor, Station House Coffee. Give them a follow on Instagram and go to the website, stationhousecoffee.com. Order yourself some amazing small batch, single origin, premium coffee brewed in Thetford Center, Vermont, shipped directly to you. Let them know the Ray Taylor Show sent you. Follow Station House Coffee on Instagram and go to stationhousecoffee.com and order your coffee today. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad free over at patreon.com/inspired disorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out.